Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Dean Rogers Show. Today we got another episode of Deals with Dean, and today we're going to talk about a deal that had some serious HOA drama going on that held up the deal. Say what? I know. I couldn't believe that we were held up because of the HOA. It was driving me nuts, but there was lots of other drama that happened along the way. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's go. All right, welcome back. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps support this channel and we definitely appreciate it. All right, so like I said, this deal at the end of the day was held up by the HOA, but at the very beginning, we got this deal from a wholesaler. Now, this was another friends with benefits deal where someone brings us a lead, we help get it under contract at the best price, we help sell it to an end buyer at top dollar, and we help throughout the whole escrow process. Now, just like our own deals or any friends with benefits deals, as problems come up, we just become problem solvers and help to fix those. And in this situation, the seller was dealing with a squatter. And from what I could tell, I kept hearing that the sheriff lockout was happening this week, it was happening next week. And that's not really how a sheriff lockout works. It's a set date. So it kind of felt like something wasn't really quite set up. Maybe the seller didn't know, or I wasn't quite sure. Now, to make it a little harder on us, this was down in Santa Ana, California, down in the Los Angeles metropolitan area. And that's outside of our normal market. So it's not like we could just jump in the car and drive 10 minutes and go check on the property and see what's going on. But we made it a day to have one of our acquisition guys drive down 3-4 hours to the property and see what was going on. Now, when he got there, there was really no one in sight. Couldn't tell if anybody was living there, what was going on, peeked through the windows and naturally saw some junk and kind of like what a squatter property would look like, but no squatter in sight. Now, he didn't take that as a loss and said, well, I couldn't get in the property or make access. I'm just going to drive back another 3 to 4 hours home. He actually got a little ninja-like and climbed a tree to the balcony to get into this property and get access. The slider was open. The property was vacant. It looked like the person had already left. No one was there. The property was abandoned, and we got confirmation by climbing a tree and getting into this property. If that isn't commitment to finding out what's going on with the deal, I don't know what is. So we got the good word the property was vacant. Next was, let's get this to the finish line. Now, the next steps for us was, because this was out of our normal area, we have a couple buyers that we've worked with before and that were the top of the list. One of which is a big hedge fund buyer down in the Los Angeles area. They wanted to get access, they wanted the property vacant, and now we finally had that available. We got the property rekeyed, we got a lockbox on the door, and the buyer in to do a walkthrough. We ultimately agreed to a price, got it dialed in, and now we were off to the races going through the escrow process. But not so fast. We thought we'd be able to close in a matter of a couple weeks once we got the whole thing figured out with the property being vacant, the squatter's no longer there. But we were held up by a couple liens and judgments. It turns out this property was actually delinquent in HOA payments to the extent that it was actually going to go to auction. So we had to go through the process of ordering the payoffs and all of that kind of stuff. But the HOA was dragging their feet. Believe it or not, the seller actually had to pay about $500 just to get a copy of the HOA documents and an updated payoff. You'd think that would be readily available, but apparently someone had to be paid to do their job. So we had to work through this and fight through it and make phone calls from escrow, from my team, just to get our hands on these darn HOA documents, which we ultimately finally got. So we finally got the documents. We're finally ready to close escrow. And this buyer likes to do a final walkthrough the day of funding and closing. So we were able to coordinate that. I always hold my breath when that happens because you just can't help but think, man, I hope there's nothing wrong. There's nobody that broke back into the property. But thankfully, all was good. Funds were wired, and we actually closed today. We made $27,500, which, because it was a Friends with Benefits deal, we split 50-50 and each made $13,750. Now, like I said, the HOA held this up. It could have been a deal we closed in a month, but it actually ended up taking us just under 4 months to close this seemingly simple deal that turned into us doing some extra work, extra legwork to just get the HOA to cooperate with us. One of the biggest wins on this deal, I believe, was our tenacity to really not just sit back and wait and hope that the seller figured things out with the property getting vacant, because that was really going to be one of the biggest holdups. Our team took action, got in the car, drove 3 to 4 hours to get down to the Los Angeles area, and was able to get to the property first, but second, another obstacle, another roadblock got in the way of no one answering the door, but climbed a tree to get access into the property and ultimately determined it was vacant and got it rekeyed. So sometimes you got to go the extra mile to get the deal done. If you guys like this story, make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.